Hi everyone, Bromid Jenkins here. Welcome back to Black Ops, and we're going to jump right back into it.
Why didn't Castro just kill you? Why did he give you to Dragovich?
Because Castro and Dragovich were working together.
Yeah, you were a gift.
Yeah. Right.
Where did Dragovich take you?
Vorkuta. I had to fight. Just to survive.
What happened in Vorkuta, Mason?
I was on my own. Almost a year.
Fake Mason! What did they do to you?
I'd given up hope of ever getting out. But Victor Reznov found a way.
You will break, America.
Victor Reznov.
My friend.
You hit like a child!
Только через село, понимаете? Собаки!
Hey, сволочь!
And so Victor Reznov from World at War makes a comeback. He was your gatekeeper character in that game. And you can actually let him get beat for quite a while before anything happens here. So I let it extend out a bit, but nothing changes no matter how long you wait. So Reznov makes his return as a gatekeeper character. He's well loved because he was voiced by Gary Oldman, who tends to overact and just really sunk his teeth into this role. So yeah, really enjoy him. But a couple things. We're in Vorkuta, which is it was a gulag in Russia. It was closed 10 years prior to this mission. Also, this mission was supposed to take place a year after the Bay of Pigs, but it's actually 1963, which is 2 years after. Whatever. You start off with just your prison knife here, which is kind of great. When I saw there was a prison knife in the game the first time, I was really excited. And then I played the rest of this level, and I was really pissed off, because this level is generally one of the more frustrating in the game. Also, that guy's back doesn't look like it's that natural the way he fell. But anyways, it's kind of frustrating because, well, there's nooks and crannies like this that have nothing in them. I just wanted to show there was nothing in there. But because it makes you do the Call of Duty things. You man a turret, you ride a vehicle, you use weapons that you'll never see again in the game with aiming reticles that are usually used for something else. It's the prototypical Call of Duty level. And Jason Statham questions why you're here too.
With my life. He and us are not so different. We are all soldiers without an army. Betrayed, forgotten, abandoned. In Vorkuta, we are all brothers.
Is something I really appreciate about the game. It subtly informs you as to why the prisoners are going to be proficient with weaponry later. It says we're all soldiers without a country, because a lot of people who were in gulags during the Soviet era were actually former Soviet soldiers or German prisoners of war who were left behind. So it kind of makes a lot of sense when these guys start wielding weaponry during this prison break and why they're so easily organized by Reznov. I think that's actually a brilliant moment on Treyarch's part, if they meant to do that anyways. And here comes one of the more interesting sections of the game. You'll see why. But you have to get behind this coal cart here on the right. You're not allowed to go to the one on the left. And you basically protect Reznov and Sergei as they move this thing along. Now you'll notice that I only have a pistol. And I did it in the test video, but if you leave this cart for more than a couple seconds, you will get shot down by the Russian guards. So you would think you have to be careful with your ammo supply, but as you see there, any shot anywhere on the guard body will kill them. And I show it off a few times. I actually became fairly proficient at shooting people in the leg by the end of this section. But yeah, any shot will kill them in one shot, which makes total sense. It means you're not going to run out of ammo and have to prison knife someone as they rush you or anything like that. But still, it's a weird thing to notice when you've done it a couple times, and this is like my third playthrough of the single player campaign and about fifth playthrough of the level, and I only picked up on it right before this one. Oh, also, explosive barrels. I just like to shoot them. And right up ahead, we're about to see what's kind of a cool gimmick weapon that's in this game. There's several, but the gimmick weapon of this level, one of the two actually, is the Slingshot the guys on the left are going to set up, where they use coal from the mines to create fiery explosive balls somehow. Don't ask me why, but it seems that the Russian Gulag guards have decided that the entire place needs to be lined with explosive barrels. Oh, also you can dive in single player. Didn't know that till right then. So as we're about to see, Reznov is in fact a gatekeeper character. There are relatively few points where he actually opens doors throughout the game because he doesn't reemerge for a little while, and where you're going you don't need doors. Yes, I spoiled the rest of this episode. But of course, Mason did that in the interrogation room. Oh, also, the Call of Duty scripting is so hard-coded that no matter where you stand, Reznov just yells at where he thinks you're supposed to be. If I walked past Sergey earlier on, he would have just kept watching Sergey and talking at him about himself. So here we go. We get to use the gimmick weapon because these guys somehow got ahead of us despite the fact that, I don't know. If you try to explain Call of Duty logic, you never know what you're going to get. There's an achievement for knocking out all three of these things normally, if you do it without missing a single shot, which I do here. But I got it the first time I played the game, so I'm pretty awesome. And so Reznov's making an awesome speech, and he's already off. The speech ends whenever you show back up, basically. If you take forever, he keeps going. And we've just picked up the KSG, which is actually a pretty good weapon. I wish it showed up in multiplayer, because that multiplayer could use better shotguns. Now, for a couple seconds, the Makarov still does 100 damage on all these guys. But now that I've picked up the AK-47, it's not going to do that. And this is kind of a prelude to one of the sections of this level I hated the most when I first played through it, and when I played through it for you guys, which is the fucking helicopter section. You'll see what I mean in a second. Once you hit that point right there, macro, there you go. Chopper's here. That chopper is actually, it's actually like 2 or 3 years ahead of its time. It's another one of those things that just shows up when it shouldn't be here. But whatever. We're going to let it go because it's, you know, it's a video game. But I'm going to show you the incorrect way to do this first, which is to wait. So, these guys are idiots on this corner, by the way. But if you watch closely, Makarov's going to get to that doorway, right? Or sorry, Reznov. I don't know why I said Makarov. But Reznov's going to get to that doorway for a bit, and I'm going to keep shooting people. Now, you'll die to the people shooting in this courtyard at him. But what the game's trying to tell you when he gets there is that you should run for that doorway. And if you don't realize this, well, you get this happening to you. The helicopter just floats there for a while. It's expecting you to go inside and trigger the next event. Unfortunately, I had to cut out about 8 or 9 deaths here because I didn't feel safe running through all the guys. And then on this one I actually did it, and it worked out okay. But I also got a weird glitch that I didn't get through any of the other run-throughs. So there's an invisible line somewhere on the left of where I am now that makes Reznov run up forward a bit. And I didn't trip it yet, and I used that to kill the guys in the courtyard ahead of me, where I usually would get shot if I ran through. And that seems to be the way to do it if you're going to go play Black Ops. Just remember that. As you can see, Reznov ran ahead there. I think it's actually triggered by the helicopter and making the helicopter appear. Watch this guy. And then I get hit from the left. There's no one to my left, and this guy was facing away from me. It's like I was playing a really bad multiplayer level or something. So usually I'd spend time to clear these guys out, but fuck that. And here we go. Improvised Weaponry. This is actually a KSG with a harpoon attached to it. And goodbye. Whee! Get ready for a jump cut. That wasn't too jarring, was it? I died in this section. I didn't really feel like showing it off because I got cornered by a grenade. Like I said in the first video, Call of Duty uses a regenerating health system, and while that's all well and good, it makes developers feel like their players are supermen sometimes, and you know, they don't need to worry about health pickups, so we can throw a lot of enemies at them and throw a lot of bad situations at them. But they sometimes forget that they're going to need time to heal up if they want to push forward. And that's exactly what can happen. So if you get in that little corner where I was just then, you end up with a grenade at your feet while you try to reload so you can shoot the guys behind these shields. It's pretty bad. And here comes more stupid sections. Really, this entire level is kind of annoying. And while it's a good introduction to what Call of Duty does in general, which is throw a bunch of enemies at you, you fight with a bunch of guys on your side, it also does a terrible job in that it makes you want to throw your controller out the fucking window. It puts you in really bad situations, puts you up against enemies who have fucking laser accuracy. It's just all around not a fun level. Oh, and this is my favorite part.
Sergey!
What happened to Sergey? I don't know, because the game wouldn't let me look at him. Oh, there we go. And Reznov let out the best no I've ever heard Gary Oldman throw. So that's pretty cool. And so we're now in a room. They're up on the roof. And we have no explanation on why we're here right now. It becomes clear in a second. They've sealed the vault.
Step 6.
Somehow, I have to say, it's got to be a big plot hole in the game. Somehow Reznov knows that they've got what they have in the vault, and he didn't shoot that guy. God damn. As you can see, Reznov just ran past about 4 people because the gatekeeper characters in this game are absolutely useless. But he also knows they have a blowtorch down here, and here comes an annoying little thing. I died at least once to this in a test video because I fired that at them, and then the guy came in, and I forgot you have to wait a couple seconds after they open the door before they're actually vulnerable to stuff. Those are basically the juggernauts of this game. They can take more damage and carry KSGs as well. Oh, and if you don't know this is here, you'll probably die to it. It's another one of those things. If you don't know to expect in a Call of Duty game, expect to die to it. It's a poor concept that's kind of carried through all their games, and I get really tired of it through this game, and through this level, really. But we're almost done with it, actually. And here we go. We got normal Russian troops and juggernauts just running up this staircase. But luckily we've got a shield wall to my left and to my right. I use the one on the left more often. Now the shotguns in single player are much more damaging and further reaching than the multiplayer ones. So it's really ideal to this section. It's why I carried it for so long. Please ignore that no other weapons were really available at this point. That wasn't a jump cut, that was another glitch in the game. I get a lot of them in this level, so I'm probably going to install this to the hard drive. So, we've got something in the... Oh, a minigun. Yes, what's called the death machine in multiplayer. It's something that drops from a care package crate in the game randomly if you play multiplayer. It's got a cooldown meter on the right there above its ammo counter. You can spool it up with the left trigger, but you really don't need to because the second... Oh, yeah, no friendly fire on those guys, by the way. But the second you pull the right trigger, it just shoots anyway, so you don't have to really worry about it. My thing with it is that it's one of the few non-hit scan weapons in the game. Call of Duty uses hit scan, so basically whenever you pull the trigger and point at a guy, it decides if your gun was pointed at him and awards you damage based on that fact. But there's a few ballistic weapons in the game, like the crossbow, most of the rocketry, and the ballistic knives. Which means this is kind of annoying because you can see the tracers and everything. but you can't really aim this too well. So you've got to just depend on spraying and praying and hoping here, which is fine because this is the motto for using this gun is to just never let off the trigger. But you can really screw yourself in this section if you do that by overheating, like I do here, just to show it off actually, and by ammo conservation. You can actually get through this and drain all the ammo. There's no way to get more, and there's just far too many enemies to do this without this gun. But luckily, this section's about over, and everything blows up, so it makes it a lot easier. Once again, it's actually pretty good design by Treyarch. But yeah, we're almost done. We've almost cleared our way through. Oh look, another glitch. I don't know why the scripted events do this to me, but they are. So I'll let the cinematic take over here.
They used tear gas. I couldn't breathe. You never left me.
The door will not hold them forever. We do not have much time. Within this shrine, to the hypocritical decadence of Vorkuta's leaders, lays the key to Step 8.
Freedom.
Did anyone else notice that the motorcycle was in two different positions between the blinks Mason had there? Oh, and also, do you think that the developers of this game were big fans of Terminator 2? Because you definitely end up using an 1887 while on the back of or on this motorcycle. I die in this section, by the way. Just be ready for that. I kept it in because I actually had a couple of really good shots right here that I wanted to show off, but then I tried to run a guy over, and you'll see. But this is, once again, one of those sections of the game where you have no prior knowledge that this is going to happen, and it kind of just thrusts you into it. So if you miss the prompt that says hit L, there I go. If you miss the prompt that says hit L to fire gun, you may never know you can shoot in this section, which is kind of important. So let's try it again. I'm sure it'll go better this time. Also, you'll notice that I ran through a light pole last time without taking damage. Yeah, it's just one of those things in the game. You never have to reload the 1887. You just have to let this happen, the cycling, and that only even happens every other shot for some reason. So I don't even know if it's an 1887 per se, but I'm led to believe such. So there's not a lot to say about this section. You go through here, you shoot guys, you try to run a couple over, and you have a helicopter shooting at you still. It's an interesting little section. It's basically aping the snowmobile section from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. If you remember that, it's an early level where you get on a snowmobile and go down a mountain to get to a helicopter. I didn't even shoot that guy and he got off that thing. It was really nice of him. He just decided to vacate. And a turret section, because it's a Call of Duty game. This is... I don't know why it slowed down there. This isn't too bad as far as turret sections go. Most of these guys won't do much damage to you. That helicopter's more annoying than the guys on the ground, though, so that's one out. And it's fairly short. Like I said, while Treyarch hits all the Call of Duty points, it definitely tones it down in a lot of ways and makes sure you don't have to do any one thing for too long. It gets you right back into shooting things. So, we're about to gain our freedom. I'll see you guys next time.
Go, Mason, go!
Your turn! Come on! Step 8, Reznov! Freedom!
For you, Mason! Not for me!
Reznov!
And that was the last you saw of Victor Reznov.
Yes. At least for a while.
After your escape, you were assigned to Jason Hudson at the CIA. How could he trust you when he knew that Victor Reznov helped you break out of Vorkuta?
Reznov. He was my friend. But he didn't make it out.
Victor Reznov was a communist. How did the CIA know you weren't compromised?
They tested me. They knew I wouldn't break, and I won't break now.
The government wanted Dragovich. They wanted you to kill him.
Yeah. There were others. Others I was supposed to kill.
Who? Who, Mason?